Hello and welcome to this edition of Let's Talk Law. I am Manish Sisodia. All hell broke loose when the former Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia was arrested by CBI on February 26, 2023. The Aam Aadmi party termed it a political witch hunt, while the BJP made stinging allegations of large-scale corruption by the Delhi government. While the process of law shall take its own course, this high-profile case has once again thrown in the classic question that we often encounter in politically sensitive cases. Is there real evidence to prosecute Mr. Sisodia? How can one distinguish between a politically motivated investigation versus where there is substantial material to book an individual? While sieving through the political noise and clutter, we tell you the evidence that the CBI claims it has against Manish Sisodia. Are there loopholes, and what has Mr. Sisodia claimed in his defense so far? First, the timeline of the events. Manish Sisodia, along with 14 others, was booked in an FIR by the Central Bureau of Investigation. This was for alleged irregularities in the Delhi excise policy, a scam, and this entire investigation was started on the 17th of August 2022. The CBI registered an FIR naming Manish Sisodia and others after the LG made a complaint to the agency back in July 2022. The agency conducted raids at multiple locations in the Delhi NCR region and other cities as well. The residence of Mr. Sisodia was raided and he was called in for questioning multiple times by the agency. Now, based on the FIR by the CBI, you also have the Enforcement Directorate, which has registered a case under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. What is the core allegation that the CBI is probing right now? Under this now scrapped excise policy, the profit margin was fixed at about 12% for the wholesale businesses. Now, it is alleged that out of this profit margin, 6% was fixed as some kind of kickbacks or bribe to the Aam Aadmi party. These kickbacks were then allegedly used for funding Goa elections. That is the allegation. Hawala channels allegedly were used to divert funds, and there was a larger criminal conspiracy amongst the businessmen and bureaucrats that led to this large-scale corruption, which the CBI is investigating right now. Now, the CBI so far has charge-sheeted 6 people. Vijay Nair, the Aam Aadmi Party communication officer, has been accused of orchestrating this entire scam according to the charge sheet. Now, the argument of the agency is that the profit margins were hiked against the recommendation of the expert committee. Now, this expert committee was headed by the excise commissioner and it had opined against this move of the government. Now, let's come to the evidence against Mr. Sisodia. What is it that the agency has? While arresting Mr. Sisodia, CBI said that he was not cooperating, quote-unquote, and remained evasive in his replies. Well, these are standard reasons and statements which are cited by the agency whenever an arrest is done. These reasons never form the core of an arrest or the core reasons of an arrest. After booking Manish Sisodia, the agency waited for more than 6 months before arresting him. Clearly, the agency wanted to gather more substantial evidence before taking the leap of arresting a high-profile man like him. 2 charge sheets have been filed so far. It is expected that within the next few days, in the statutory time limit, another charge sheet will be filed detailing the evidence against Manish Sisodia. The key evidence against Manish Sisodia includes the testimony of certain senior bureaucrats. Another accused, Dinesh Arora, has turned into an approver. It is further argued that Mr. Sisodia changed his mobile phones over a dozen times. Now, this is also some kind of a proof of his criminal intent. At least that's what the agency says. Now, some crucial files also seem to be missing that have been cited as a proof of defrauding the public or criminal intent. Let's deal with all of them one by one. Now, one of the key accused in the case, Dinesh Arora, has turned into an approver. It is expected that his testimony, along with the statements of the former bureaucrats, shall play a very crucial role in substantiating the allegations against Mr. Sisodia, which the CBI is probing right now. The testimony of Dinesh Arora or any other accused in this case, mind you, against Sisodia will be of limited importance, legally speaking. The testimony of any accused turned approver is seen as a tainted evidence, quote-unquote, which means it comes from a person who was earlier involved in the crime. The courts deal with such testimony with abundant caution, and mostly a corroboration is required. The sole testimony of any approver or many of them cannot lead to a conviction in a case. Now, though approver are competent witnesses in a case, but the Evidence Act clearly lays down that their statement must be corroborated with further evidence. The statement of the former excise commissioner or other bureaucrats in the case shall be treated with similar caution when the trial happens. It would require corroboration. The presence of some proof that establishes a strong suspicion, that cannot be enough to secure conviction, at least in a court of law. Manish Sisodia changed his phone over a dozen times. That's a fact. And so far, no plausible reason has been cited from his side to change the mobile phone so many times. Now, changing mobile phone so many times clearly raises suspicion but does not establish guilt. That's the line that the law draws. It can be the beginning point for the investigating agency, but unless one of the phones is recovered, for example, and material is adduced on record to show that there was criminal activity that was happening, the mere change of the mobile phones multiple times cannot be the basis of establishing any degree of criminality. Let's come to the second point. The argument that many important files and papers are missing further adds to the prima facie case against Mr. Sisodia. But in a court, it would have to be established that he is criminally responsible for those missing files. While at the heart of the case or the litigation is the allegation of a quid pro quo, which means the public policy was tweaked so that private individual, enterprises and a political party can benefit out of it. Laundering or misappropriation of money is the core issue. According to the agency, the liquor policy of the Aam Aadmi party led to a loss of about 2,000 crore rupees to the public exchequer. This reminds me of the coal scam or the 2G case, where a faulty policy resulted in a loss to the public exchequer. Those high-profile cases that contributed to the rout of the UPA government remind us that it's one thing for a policy to be bad, malified or even faulty, but to prove that a particular minister or a party benefited from it and made monetary gains is an uphill task for any investigation agencies. The money trail would have to be established and the monetary gains which have been made need to be located to secure a conviction in the case. This case is being probed by the Enforcement Directorate also. So while the arrest of Manish Sisodia is not without basis, the agency has a tough task to prove these allegations beyond the reasonable doubt. Other than the legal evidence in a court of law, this battle shall also be fought fiercely in the court of public perception. You all know it's a political issue. All high-profile cases are tried in the court of public perception and law, while the convictions are rare and the political noises are high decibel. Thanks for watching.